All right, welcome back. We're back. We had a little break, a couple weeks off.
Felt way longer than just like 3 weeks.
Seriously. And actually, it kind of snuck up on me. I mean, we were talking earlier this week, and I was like, we probably need to record this week, right? And you were like, dude, if we don't record this week, we're not going to have a pre-cap for the fall season.
Well, anyway, this is episode, I believe, 19, possibly
right.
20.
19. Well, it's 20 because we had the
British Conversation.
That's right.
Episode 19, Citadel Podcast. This is Will Bowersox, joined by my good friend and co-host, Porter Cunningham.
Yes.
Porter?
Glad to be here as always.
What was your favorite part about the off-season?
Nothing.
Euros? I spent my off-season thinking of witty one-liner questions to ask in press conferences.
Yeah.
Here's an example.
Okay.
Kosuke, you've been known to channel the inner spirit of the bear when you play. But tonight, it seemed like you channeled the inner spirit of the wolf. How would you respond to that?
I would substitute the eagle instead of the wolf in the question.
The point is, that's a stupid question that I cannot wait to ask. Coach Marcina, it seemed like you guys are channeling the inner spirit of the dragon tonight. Your thoughts? All right,
I can roll with it. I think we're comfortable enough.
Yeah,
we could do that and get away with it. So we're at McNally's again. I put it out on Twitter, but I only did it about 3 hours before we got here. So
beers up,
and it's probably noticeably quieter. We're in the back room on the second level, the dart room.
Also known as the Cave of the Rotarians.
The Cave of the Rotarians, and it's really nice, actually. It's, you could always hear the audio, but I think it's going to be kind of nice to be back here, especially when, it's just you and I and Alan this evening. Say hello, Alan.
Hello.
He's enjoying his pub chips. But as we get back to the big numbers that we saw the last time we recorded here, when we do better about letting people know, this might be our normal spot. So,
yes.
That being said, let's do as we always do and say thank you to McNally's for having us out. And let you know, since today is Sunday, June 26th, tomorrow night, always as usual, pint nights, Monday nights, come out, have a pint, take home the glass with you. Tomorrow night, June 27th, a Monday, is the Dudes Brewery, TBA. I wonder if that means to be announced.
It must.
The Dudes Brewery, but the type of beer is unclear as of yet. This week, the Beer Geek Special, running June 27th to July 3rd, is the Boulevard 2015 Bourbon Barrel Quad. That is a massive 25.4 ounce beer for $19.50.
I'm in.
$19.50.
I'll take 3.
I'm going to have to come back and try one of those. That sounds really good.
Same.
And then just a little bit of an update in terms of holiday schedule, since this is the Independence Day, 4th of July long weekend coming up. McNally's will be closed on July 4th, but will reopen Tuesday, July 5th at 11 a.m. because obviously the 4th is a Monday. So,
indeed.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about, since we never did a recap episode, this segment's going to be about the Ottawa game, a couple segments about the Ottawa game to end the spring season.
Yeah, I have some strong thoughts on the Ottawa game. Actually, I don't, because I was at a wedding and didn't watch it.
Yeah, you kind of like were the you were like the Carolina Railhawks of the duo of us. You started out strong, and then you didn't even show up for the last half of the season.
It can be argued convincingly that the same is true for you, even though you were at the Ottawa game watch party. You didn't actually watch.
Well, before we get to stories about S. Hattery, correction signings releases. We were promised fresh faces.
I don't think we were. I think I went back and when I was editing the
post-game audio.
The post-game audio where Marcina was talking about that. I think what he was saying is something to the tune of we're not scoring goals. Maybe we need to bring in some fresh faces. Like a shot across the bow to all of his players who listen to the podcast, which I presume that they all do.
Yeah, of course they do.
So that's what I think.
They're probably sitting around the pool right now at their apartment complex, listening to our conversation with a real-life British person.
Doubtful. But so that's my take on that. Obviously, I don't work for the club. I don't know what phone calls have been made. Clearly, there are teams in the NASL signing players right now. But I also don't think that there was a strong mandate that we had to sign attacking players. And also, I'm getting way into the weeds here. I don't think we needed to. I think we just needed to play better defense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't have any splash signings for the fall season. I think we have a complete team.
We made a bunch of splash signings before the spring season.
Yeah, and the team was not ever 100% healthy, which they should be now. Everyone should be back. Everyone should be healthy. They're hopefully have gelled. Obviously we saw. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Anyway, but
actually, let me just say that we tied 1-1, obviously, in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And real quick comment on that Saturday. You said you were at a wedding, didn't get a chance to watch the game. I played golf that Saturday morning. It was the last day of a member guest golf tournament where alcoholic beverages are provided as part of the tournament. Therefore, I partook quite a bit. And for free. And then Ubered my way to the Yukon Interurban, where I met up with Alan and Derek and Cameron and some of the other people there, and don't really remember watching the game.
But it sounds like you would recommend attending Rayo watch parties in the future.
I would highly recommend attending Rayo watch parties in the future.
They do sound enjoyable.
It was a great time. I had a great time.
Good.
I do know that. So, tied 1-1. General feelings about the spring season. We started talking about this, but I wanted to get that in there. So,
After you.
like I said, not 100% healthy. Middle of the table. I think we are
Kind of on the bottom half.
bottom half of the middle of the table.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams below us, maybe. Miami, Jacksonville, and Ottawa, I think, are below us. I should know that. Where's the table?
I guess Puerto Rico's now below us too, right?
Aha! Puerto Rico's below us. Where's the table? What'd you think?
Well, I think I believe my prediction before the spring season was we would be a solidly mid-table team. And as it turns out, that's what we were. But then actually watching the games and seeing the potential of the team, it's disappointing to not be a little higher in the table.
Yeah.
And so like you said, there's injuries, there's other things to chalk it up to, like potentially lack of cohesiveness or whatever. And so I am looking forward to the fall season to see what strides have been made, to see if, call it a homer opinion or not, but Rayo has one of the best rosters on paper, and so it's kind of what needs to happen for the roster to actually live up to its potential.
Yeah, okay. I have 2 questions for you about the spring season before we'll do a Tech Talk segment on Ottawa, but not that there will be much there. So the first question is, are there any games from the spring season that you look back on now and say, man, we should have won that game?
Yes.
Can you clarify?
Well, I think we should have won the energy game. That obviously has no bearing on the NASL standings.
Right.
We should have won the Carolina Railhawks. Well, we should have at least tied the Carolina Railhawks game.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's more, but I don't remember them. I think the better question is, what games should we not have lost or not have tied?
Yeah, that's a better way to phrase it. The Edmonton game, obviously, you should have the first
game should have won that, no doubt about it.
Should have come away with one or at least
No, they should have come away with 3 points. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I agree on the energy game. I think the energy completely controlled the second half, but I was just trying to decide, can I really point my finger at any games as to why that we didn't win or should have won or shouldn't have tied?
Should we
and why?
What about the Cosmos game?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Anyway, so
second question about the spring season. I was listening to the NASL Nightcap with Teo Gautier and Keaton Robbins. I generally very much like their podcast. They're very well produced. They're just NASL centric, generic NASL, and they cover the league and they provide a really good source of total coverage, of objective total coverage. But Teo does cover the Ottawa Fury as well. So in their last episode, or maybe episode 4 last, right after the Ottawa game, he was talking about how he was reminded how much he hates Alan Marcina coached teams.
Okay.
Because of their style of play.
Which is
choppy, aggressive, against what some would call the unwritten rules of the beautiful game. I think he thought it was a ugly match. So 2 questions from that. Do you agree with that statement? And one thing he said that I actually kind of agree with is if you played a more possession style tactical football, like the way the Italians play. Think of an Antonio Conte coach team. With the players that we have on the field, you might get better results. These are not just speedy players who can outrun and outshoot. These are supposed to be players that are head and shoulders above all the other players on the field talent-wise. What do you think about that comment?
Okay, so
it's a lot to unpack.
Lots to unpack. I mean, first of all, I respect anyone's right to have an opinion about a team and how they play and their style. That's not. I don't get offended by that. I don't agree that. I would strongly disagree that Alan Marcina's tactics violates an unwritten rule. I mean, that's
actually those weren't his exact words, but
that
that's
sentiment is
what I got
actually
from
like fairly. It is quite ludicrous, right? That's a ridiculous statement to have, or a belief to have. But then your second question is like, what if we played more of a possession-oriented game? I think I guess I have the Euros in my mind, but like basically, I kind of view Raya as like somewhat playing like a Borussia Dortmund style game where they're just like always attacking, always moving forward, always attacking, like always working to get the ball back. And yeah, like sometimes there's aggressive professional fouls versus like the Spanish national team who will like lull you to sleep with their like 1-2 touches from like the central defensive mids to the back four. And I don't know. I kind of prefer watching like attacking, entertaining football versus, sometimes Barcelona and the Spanish national team are knocked for being like boring. Like both styles have their merits, but it's all about the players, right? The X's and O's versus the Jimmies and Joes. And I would like to think that if Marcina had a team that he felt would play better under like the tiki-taka construct, he would do that. But just me personally, I like watching entertaining, like attacking football, and so. But if I think back to our very first conversation on this podcast about what we were looking for, I was like, I'm expecting the back four to be like a solid foundation to provide some cover for like the attacking players to get forward, which in my mind is very similar to what the Italian national team is doing with their back four being all Juventus starters and like very much in sync. Like Italy doesn't have the attacking prowess that other previous Italy teams have had. But they're playing like results-oriented and effective football. So I understand the question; it makes sense. But anyway, no, it doesn't violate any unwritten rule. That's ludicrous, and maybe there's a better style. But I trust that Marcina knows what he's doing.
So still got full faith in Coach Marcina going forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I think no matter what happens in the fall season, I still will.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that statement either.
Short of like a player rebellion.
Yeah, I think yours would be remiss if you didn't have some concern that the Jose Mourinho style of us versus them mentality, the siege mentality, right, that always gets Jose in trouble.
But do you think that is what we have?
I
don't.
Having been at training one time, small n equals 1 sample size, which you're never supposed to make judgments off of. I don't know. He's pretty intense. So.
Well, but okay. I think it's a nuance. Okay, so the first is like siege mentality, which you can just read a bunch of articles about Mourinho on that. Versus like you're dealing with a group of professionals who are in a very competitive, by nature situation. Not only just as a function of their job, like they compete, but like to get onto the field to have the right to compete. There's a lot of internal competition. So I think like as a coach, it's okay to be intense in training because you want your players to step up and like show you they deserve to play.
Right. Yeah.
But yes, sometimes like
there are times when you don't need to drop an F-bomb every third word.
Agreed. Yeah. I haven't been to training.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. Okay.
I'm a lot of people have said that they were somewhat disappointed in where Rayo finished in the spring season. I mean, short of a U.S. Open Cup victory, I'm okay with
Yeah,
spring season.
totally agree.
Not out of the playoff race yet. We're healthy now. Let's see what happens going into the fall season.
All right, good talk. So stay with us. We'll take a quick break. We will come back and we will try to do a very, very brief tech talk on the Ottawa game. Incredibly brief. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. I haven't heard those beautiful synth sounds in a while. Will, you know what that sound means.
It means it's time to wake up. Because I've made the barricade arpeggio my alarm clock.
Really?
No, not really.
Oh, wow.
It means it's time to have a really thorough, detailed, technical analysis of the last game.
Maybe we should rope Alan in
Tech
on some
talk!
of this. Tech talk. Because I don't even remember I think they started in a 4-4-2. Is that right?
Talk us through the tactics of your drinking. So
Here-
you started with a light beer. At some point, I assume you switched to pounding like a whiskey shot.
Miller Lights in the morning.
No GHT.
Miller
I like
Lights.
that. No GHT. in
Pretty
your
much
beer.
all Miller Lights. I think I sprinkled some Modelo's in there. I know I drank at least one Budweiser because it was what was available at the golf course. Then when
Practical. I'd still the practical drinker.
when I got to
You got to be
Inner
efficient.
urban.
You got to be efficient with your chances.
for whatever reason, I felt like Bud Light was the way to go. So I had 3 Bud Lights
All right.
over the course of the game.
All right.
Then later I moved back to, I think Shiner Box is what I drank after the game.
You didn't log it on the Untapped app?
Dude, there was no way. I probably couldn't even get to the app on my phone. I'm surprised I could even figure out how to Uber.
Do you think there's a lot of moral hazard with that? Like being the creator of that app, knowing when people are getting absolutely hammered and like not stopping?
I think they're just probably bathing themselves in their $100 bills and not worrying about it.
It's like you should send the "Do not drink and drive" badge to anybody who's had like more than 5 beers in like 2 hours. Okay, anyway, sorry. Yeah, Ottawa game 4-4-2.
I think I know Ian's goal came off of a poor. I guess the Ottawa defenders, the center back was trying to pass it to the other center back, and he took a poor touch, and Ian pounced on it and he put it away. I mean, with a guy, it was a contested shot. The guy who gave up the ball actually tried to chase him down, and Ian controlled the ball and put it in the back of the net. So, cheers to him. And then in the second half, I believe it was a free kick goal.
It was.
That
It
equalized.
was pretty late.
Danny was huge. I know he made some really big saves, and so far as I can remember, it was very typical Rayo OKC away game statistics.
Yeah, sure.
So that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, sure.
Except for injury update, and since we did have 3 weeks off, we saw Robbie come back. I know Sebastian's back putting in work. As long as nobody got Montezuma's revenge in Cabo, I think the team should be at full health for this Saturday's fall season opener that is happening on the July 4th weekend.
I look forward to it.
Fall season starting on July 4th. How do you feel about that?
It's a misnomer.
Misnomer
For sure. I'm just hoping to avoid Montezuma's revenge.
Well, when we go to Puerto Rico, I don't think they have Montezuma's revenge at Puerto Rico.
I don't believe that Montezuma ruled over Puerto Rico.
I don't think so either. We'll have to study up on our Puerto Rican history.
Yeah. Whatever you do when you're in Puerto Rico, don't buy any government bonds. That's my one tip.
Duly noted.
That was a finance joke. Okay, anyway. All right. So, let's wrap this segment up. Let's put a cattle prod to its head and
Best
move on.
Tech Talk segment ever.
We're going to come back and preview FC Edmonton.
Worst segment ever. That's a ticket joke.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, we're back. Segment 3. The spring season's over with. It's done. Can't change anything now. Can't file any formal complaints. So we've got FC Edmonton coming up Saturday, July 2nd to start the fall season. Edmonton, one of the surprise teams of the spring season.
Their goalie's good.
Their goalie is good, Matt Van Oekel. Other players to watch for, Albert Watson and Pape Diakite.
Love that name.
They're defenders.
Pape Diakite.
Kind of funny that we get to open the fall season with them. We opened the spring season with them. So.
It's strange to me how the NASL has it's not a home and away. It's like they're playing in Oklahoma City again.
Yes, but I think the fall season
It's longer.
is actually home and home for everyone.
Okay, cool.
So I think Raya will actually travel to Edmonton at some point.
Okay, right on.
So
Not to derail us.
no, Edmonton's actually third in the table with 17 points right now.
It's impressive.
So they were not in the title race because they won their last game. To get to 17 points or something like that, there was just no way. I think the Cosmos were already in front of them and were on a bye or something. It's the 4th of July Spectacular. Fireworks after the game and everything. What else do you want to talk about Edmonton? Do you think Albert Watson, since he was shown that early red card in the first game, do you think he's been had this game circled on his calendar since then? Do you think they care?
No, I think he definitely cares.
I think
if that's the case, then it goes both ways. Because I believe that Sebastian Velasquez got a yellow. Samaras missed a pretty good goal-scoring opportunity. Just more familiarity breeds contempt. I think it's going to be a pretty good game.
so. This is the team that has Nick Ledgerwood, who made the nails comment about the field. You want to say anything about that?
I just want to, I don't want to get wrapped up in this narrative. It's just like,
It's been the dead horse has been beaten thoroughly.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What about a projected lineup for Raya OKC?
Yeah, that's
wanna
where
go
things
there?
get really interesting.
Standard back four, right? So you would have Moses Hernandez on the left,
Yes, Koski on the right.
Footy and
Juana.
Juan in the middle. Then
I think you got Michelle and Derek Boateng at the center. I guess it depends on what lineup we're going to play. Probably 4-3-3, and I was about to say 4-2-3-1. I really want to see them play the 4-2-3-1.
the 4-4-2 is he's gone with the 4-4-2 lately because Ian's playing so well. So if you play Ian and Sammy up top in a 4-4-2,
What about Finley?
I think he's got to come off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian. I think you have to. Ian has shown that he will go out there and bust his ass, and he's got a goal because of it. So
I guess Ian makes more sense. His style of play, not to sound condescending, but he makes more sense to play in a 4-4-2. Well, actually,
Then if you
that doesn't
put-
mean anything.
then if you
I
put
can see him
Michelle
play- I
and
can see
Derek
him
in the
play-
middle.
Sorry, I can see him playing in any lineup that we put on the field for sure. But yeah, so Michelle and Derek. I think Sebastian Velasquez will play. I think you have to have Minjavar play.
Billy Forbes has got to play.
Billy
Forbes
Forbes
on the
gotta
left,
play, right?
Michelle and Derek Boateng in the middle, Chavez on the right, or
Yeah.
Minjavar on the right,
Right? I mean, that.
and then I don't
Yeah.
know. If everybody's healthy, that's the problem. Is you should be able to put multiple style
Exactly.
lineups together.
Right. So anyway, that was illuminating for our listeners, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um,
General feelings about the fall season. What are you looking for?
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure. I mean, I'm looking for this team to come out and prove that they are legitimately good, and that the spring season there was so much off the field drama. Some of it was real, some of it was not. Some of it was self-imposed. Most of it was not. I just want the team to just play and I guess I just want, maybe it's naive, a smooth fall season where the focus is on the field.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure that won't happen, but
Be too easy.
what are you looking for?
I agree. I'd love to see a string of games where all we talk about is the run of form.
Yep.
I'd like to see some consistent win streaks. I want to see 3 points and 6 points and 9 points and 12 points.
I'm definitely sick of seeing inconsistent defenders. Sorry, that sounds bad. I'm definitely sick of seeing inconsistent goals given up by the one middle mistake that people, you make one mistake and you get beat one time on an angle or whatever. But I'm just looking for Sorry, I'll let you finish.
I mean, I think that's. I don't really know what to expect. I'd like to see this team somehow wiggle their way into the fourth playoff spot.
Be awesome.
But
Tall hill to climb.
if they don't, then I guess we just have to hope that there aren't any big, like you said, off the field, there aren't any big consequences from Viacano, which we haven't heard anything about since the lower the sails or whatever they said.
Well, yeah, like
Raise the Jolly Roger. Anyways,
it's a facepalm of a news story because thinking about selling a stake versus actually selling the stake, totally different things. And I'm not saying that he won't sell the stake, but like writing a headline saying future of the team uncertain after the owner says, I'm considering selling the stake to another viable operating partner.
yeah, I don't think the future of the team was ever uncertain.
In the very, very near term, that's correct.
Unless they want to get sued by the NSL.
Right. So,
Which
I'm
would
sure-
seem to be less profitable than figuring out a way to keep the team afloat for 2 more years.
who knows? Who knows?
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to seeing the team play again. I really have enjoyed everything about the matchday experience. I love watching the team play. I think they're actually the NSL is a really good league. There's a lot of talent, and I just
Puerto Rico FC's coming in.
Puerto Rico FC's coming in.
They beat the Puerto Rican national team. Did you know that?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was an under 23 Puerto Rican national
No,
team.
I think they played both. I think they played a game in Puerto Rico and played a game in like New York.
Well, no disrespect to the Puerto Rican national team. I don't know that is a major. Well, I don't know. That is good, right? Actually, that is really good for an upstart team. If Rayo OKC had beaten the Puerto Rican national team, I'd feel really good about that, actually, right after they got announced. So,
I mean,
kudos to them.
think about who Rayo OKC played and what their results were in the preseason. So,
Yeah, well said, well said. So Puerto Rico comes in. Ideally, I need Carmelo Anthony and somehow become like his best friend. Not an unlikely scenario because I'm freaking cool as hell. Probably edit that part out.
can we talk about Puerto Rico FC a little bit more in Free Talk?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
sure.
I have an interview. I listened to an interview that I'd like to discuss.
Okay, cool. Anyway, okay. Do you want to throw out like a end of season finish for Rayo prediction?
6th in the table.
Okay.
I'd say
Okay.
here's what I visualize in my crystal ball. I see the team being in the running for a playoff spot and somehow missing out on it near the very end of the fall season. Needing to play really well and get like 6 points out of 3 games or something and not getting there. But having good momentum for season 2.
It's a good prediction.
Yeah.
It's a good prediction. I'm just gonna say they finish in fifth.
I can't see this team. I can't see this team playing any worse than they have.
Famous last words.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah. So, okay, sorry. Here's a naive question: do the standings reset, or are we going off? Are we starting from where we ended at the spring?
there's 2 tables. There's a spring table and a combined
So
table.
it's zeros across the board
For the spring table, yeah.
for the fall table.
I mean the fall table, yes.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say fifth. I mean, maybe that's bold, but yeah, I'm gonna say fifth.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll make sure we keep tabs on our predictions moving forward. So we will come back and talk.
Do you want to throw out a prediction for the game?
Yeah, I'll take Rayo 14 and Ottawa 3.
It'd be tough since we're playing Edmonton, but
Edmonton 3. No, I'm sticking with that one. Ottawa is going to score 3 goals.
okay. I like a 2-1 Rayo victory.
All right. I'll come back and say 1-0 Rayo, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, stay with us. We'll be right back for Free Talk.
All right, welcome back in. Free Talk. Before we get to what we're actually going to talk about, I wanted to say once again thank you to McNelly's for having us out and remind you that tomorrow night, Monday, June 27th, is the Dudes Brewery Pint Night. Come out, buy a pint, take the glass home with you. Pardon me. And the Beer Geek special for this week, June 27th to July 3rd, is the Boulevard 2015 Bourbon Barrel Quad, the Boybin Barrel. 25.4 ounces for $19.50.
I'll seriously come up here with you if you want to.
We're going to have to do that sometime.
Okay.
So, huge thanks to McNelly's. We're going to get better about coming out if you're still listening, I figure you're enough of a fan that you might want to come out and have a pint with us and listen to us talk.
Watch it happen live, baby.
Converse with us in between segments so you can tell us how we're idiots and we're wrong. And
as Alan has attested multiple times tonight, it's a truly magical experience.
indeed.
He's nodding his head vigorously.
Yes, and it's an interactive experience too. We're not two guys up on a podium with speakers.
I will sign your chest.
Sure enough, HA on one cheek, PPY right there on the other. All right, free talk. So we've failed to mention we've talked about our third wheel, Alan.
Yes.
Being here with us and providing good commentary this evening, but definitely want to mention his contributions in the written form to the Scissortail podcast, the Scissortail blogcast. I think we're rebranding shortly. So you can check out his posts on 2 Yellow Cards or Midfield Press. Fire up your Google machine and check those out.
More 2 yellow cards.
Yeah. 2 yellow cards, which would equal a red card. Anyways, back to business. So free talk. What I wanted to talk about, my bullet point here, is an interview that Neil Morris, who covers the Carolina Railhawks, did with the general manager, or the president, I think is his official title, of Puerto Rico FC.
Mello?
No, Mello is the owner. This gentleman ran the LA Galaxy for a number of years. And Carmelo's people handpicked him, flew him to New York, and he had a meeting with Carmelo.
Wow.
And they went over everything that Mello wanted to see out of Puerto Rico FC. And he's been down there ever since. And he had a lot of great points. This was on the Inverted Triangle podcast. So if you want to listen to it, I highly recommend it. A few of the points that I thought were very interesting that I just wanted to throw out there to maybe entice some people to go listen is he talks about papering the stands and the effect that has and how he is staunchly against it. In his opinion, he has seen many teams fail because they have papered the stands, and truly, I guess he said it makes it hard to sell season tickets when people get used to getting tickets for free. So, can't disagree with that opinion, but we'll see.
Do you feel like that's a subtweet at Rayo OKC?
No, I don't think so. I think this guy is direct and straightforward enough that if he wanted to mention them, he would have. I don't remember the teams that he mentioned. Maybe Chivas was one of them. Chivas USA.
Yeah, right.
And a couple others, but I feel like if he wanted to directly call out Rayo, he would have. Another thing he talked about was this is Puerto Rico FC, which is the reincarnation somewhat of the Puerto Rico Islanders, and he talked about how much the citizens of Puerto Rico loved their Islanders.
Okay.
So he had to have kind of a town hall meeting with the staunch supporters for the Islanders and make sure that he was doing everything correctly to bring them on board with Puerto Rico
respect
FC.
the brand. I like
and that's
that.
that's why I mentioned, they beat the Puerto Rico national team, and I think they actually played, like you said, multiple games against them. And they have big name Puerto Rican players on their team.
Good.
So I think
that.
they're doing it right down there.
Yeah.
I think they've done it right, and Carmelo knows he needs to throw in what he needs to throw in, and it'd be really cool to see how that works out. So that's what I had. What did you want to talk about since you're wearing your Jurgen Klinsmann special there?
Great call. Great segue. Yeah, I guess thoughts on the Centenario, right? I don't have any hot takes that you can't get anywhere else, but the U.S. men's national team, I thought, performed as expected. Good to see some new players in the squad. Extremely disappointing to see some of the same players that I've seen for the last 3 tournament cycles in the squad. And I don't really have any hot takes.
Do you think Jurgen Klinsmann should be fired?
Based on what criteria?
I don't know. Just a lot of people think Jurgen Klinsmann should be fired. So
I think he's the best coach in the history of the U.S. men's national team, at least in the modern era, and he has gotten a lot out of the players in his pool. So no, I don't.
I think he's has questionable player selections, like he just said. For instance, playing Wondolowski and
He has
Beckerman.
questionable tactics, right? But like, yeah.
Here's my question about the U.S. men's national team: who's our keeper of the future? Our top three keeper selections are all 35 or older.
Who's the third keeper?
Nick Raimondo. He's like 36.
Sure, it's some guy in the MLS, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's been a great summer for soccer. I've loved the opportunity to watch the U.S. men's national team, other North and South American teams in the Copa. I've really enjoyed watching the Euros, and it's nice that I'll get to keep watching all of those while also watching Rayo OKC start. So I'm excited for the summer of soccer to continue.
Me too. But just throwing my opinion out there, I don't think Jurgen Klinsmann should be fired.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Because if for no other reason, who else are you going to hire?
yeah.
Are you going to hire Bruce Arena again or
I
bring
would
Bob
not.
Bradley back?
I wouldn't hate seeing Bob Bradley come back to coach that team in the future, but I don't know. But
But then you're going to have the same player selection issues.
I think that Jason Whitlock and Colin Cowherd had some really interesting comments after the Argentina game that I would encourage anybody who is trying to understand where soccer in America fits relative to the broader sports fabric in America, where it fits and how we should view it, how we should treat it as fans. It's like if you want to learn about that, it's like a must watch. And I think your question about Klinsmann is a good point in case, because maybe the conversation should be like, should the players be fired?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think the players should be fired, but then you still
But then it's still a round robin, because
still
like
get-
then you say, well, the coach picked the players.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Chris couldn't hit the side of a barn, couldn't hit the ocean from a rowboat with a beach ball. Wondolowski.
No disrespect to Wondolowski. I mean, I only know basically like two things about him. One, he missed the goal versus Belgium, and two, he played and shouldn't have played versus Argentina. So I don't know a thing about his career. I'm sure he like worked really hard to have the opportunity to like do those two things.
He worked really hard to miss the goal versus Belgium. Great.
But I mean, I don't want to turn this into a subtext or a subtweet on ProRel, but I kind of just feel like as a fan, I'm a little not burned out, but I just kind of feel like the men's team has come as far as it can.
Everyone likes to say that ProRel is the answer. I don't think ProRel is the answer. I think splitting up MLS and the USSF is the answer. Because you have someone who has a vested interest in making sure that the national team is comprised mostly of players from the first division in America. And Klinsmann rubbed people the wrong way all across U.S. soccer when he said, don't go play in the MLS.
Which, by the way, is great career advice.
Yeah. Why? You can't give me a good argument why you shouldn't go. You want to be the best, you play with the best. Day in and day out. Even if you're not getting quote-unquote useful minutes, you're still training in the unarguable top leagues and top teams in the world.
Would you rather start for an NPSL team or train with Barcelona? That's obviously an extreme analogy, but it's an obvious answer.
Yeah. You have better physios, better coaches, more coaches.
Yeah.
So
More resources.
then you get to sit there and watch, Lionel Messi every day. You're not sitting there watching Joe Blow from UC San Diego.
Yeah. I mean, I guess one thing that America does really well is we do American sports teams. Like we'll always get behind quote unquote Team USA. But at some point there needs to be a more nuanced opinion of quote unquote Team USA, because just to blindly support what educated and dedicated soccer fans know could be a better product is, I think it's the definition of insanity, right? Like The three American Fox broadcasters who predicted that the U.S. would beat Argentina. It's like total pandering to MLS, man. Like that's so bad.
They picked the U.S. and it wasn't Argentina like a 7-1 favorite.
Yeah, I regret not betting. No, Argentina was favored by 1 goal. I regret not betting on the game.
Yeah. Especially once you saw the lineup come out. But.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's over. Copa's over. So now, like you said, we'll watch the final tonight. When this gets up, Argentina or Chile will be the Copa America Centenario champion, which means absolutely DICK. But a tournament of friendlies, unlike the Euros, right?
Right.
Then we'll have the Euros to continue to watch, and this weekend, fall season. So excited to be back.
Good to be back in the saddle. Looking forward to what's to come. So thank you, as always, for listening. If you still are, track us down on Twitter, @SisterTailPod. Send us a note, sistertailpod@gmail.com. Read our musings at 2yellowcards.com. Cheers.